In this video, we will be taking a look at Throgg, who is going to be a legendary lord for the Norscan faction in Total War Warhammer. We will first be touching upon his lore, what makes him unique amongst the trolls, and then we will get into his stats and mechanics in Total War Warhammer. Throgg is a troll, obviously, but a much bigger and tougher troll, as can be seen by his appearance. He has no need for armor, as his natural skin is thick, scaly, and spiked. Throgg has multiple weapons embedded into his skin from previous duels with would-be adventurers and champions. He wields an immense rock hammer, and unusually for a troll, he wears a ragged cloak sporting various trophies and braids into battle. He has huge, fibrous, muscular arms and a thick-toothed maw. Skulls are woven into his matted hair, and he is indeed an imposing figure. But this is not what makes Throgg the king of the trolls. For even children know that trolls are extremely stupid, but there is rumor of a troll in the northern wastes that has a cunning not seen amongst his kin. Throgg is this troll, and it is this rumor that would bring Throgg no peace despite his wish to simply be left alone to his small-time raids and hunts in his territory. At the heart of an icy labyrinth strewn with human corpses of once mighty heroes, the Troll King, Throgg, sits brooding upon his rocky throne. No fanfare announces his arrival, no vassals pay him tithe, for his subjects are drooling, stinking monsters, and his domain is a desolate and wind-whipped wasteland. A filth-encrusted crown rings one of the Troll King's tusks, known as the Wintertooth Crown, which was most certainly worn by one of the many heroes looking to slay Throgg for glory, but ultimately ended up in Throgg's belly. The crown must have snagged on his tusk as he was finishing his meal, and Throgg simply never removed it. There was a time when Throgg was content purely with a life of hunting, raiding, and killing. He led his monstrous kin into ambushes and midnight attacks, each more successful than the last. Because of his show of tactics beyond that of his brethren, the Troll King became infamous, known amongst the warriors of the old world as Wintertooth. And so every season, great and lauded heroes would ride northwards, brave knights and adventurers, all seeking out Throgg's lair to slay him, and every season the Troll King dined upon noble flesh. Until one moonless night, as Throgg was picking his yellow tusk clean with a gem-encrusted blade, he beheld the broken bodies of his prey and began to think, if the race of man was so keen to fight him and his bestial subjects, then fight he would. With all the monsters of Troll Country at his side, that night, Throgg vowed that he would see the lands of men despoiled in the names of the dark gods. He would gather every monster, mutant and madman under his rule, and march at the head of a nightmarish horde deep into the so-called civilized lands of the south. On his heels would come the bitter cold of winter, for where the creatures of chaos tread, the land itself warps and changes. Throgg would bring out an age of ice and darkness and make all of the races of the old world his slaves. As the Troll King marches determinedly south, his monstrous entourage grows with every passing day. Under Throgg's dominion, the creatures of the hinterlands have united into a vast army, and soon the race of man shall feel the Troll King's wrath. Now that we have covered his brief but interesting history, we are moving on to Throgg's inclusion in Total War Warhammer. This is where we find Throgg at the beginning of his campaign. Total War is his race towards the south. Not exactly sure where he will be starting on the campaign map, but if you choose Throgg as your legendary lord, he will reduce upkeep for trolls and ice troll units, as well as imbue them with a physical resistance buff. In addition to this, all units in Throgg's army will be immune to attrition, as representative of his often use of the elements that he used to aid himself in battle in his ambushes in his earlier career. Throgg is also retaining most of his special characteristics from the lore that we just heard. Being a troll, he has regeneration unparalleled, from what I am to understand, to most units, as is to be expected, along with a decent leadership of 70, being significantly higher than a regular troll. He also does armor piercing and is a melee expert, meaning he will do good in a crowd, smashing around with his club and, pulping enemies in the teeny tiny bits, kind of like a certain Dark Prince in the end times. He also has a decent melee attack of 60 and a pretty good defense of 50. Not fantastic, but he makes up for it with his regeneration. With a weapon strength of 450, he will have no problem putting on the damage to any infantry or most cavalry units you send him into. He'll even do decent against another legendary lord as long as it isn't a duelist. Now, Throgg has one more special trait, being Frostbite, which is a new mechanic being introduced into a lot of the Norscan units, and it's kind of this chilling aura that slows down enemies by over 50%. And couple this with his speed of 56, and he should not have a hard time at all breaking a unit once they have routed, which is kind of what the Norscan army appears to be built around. Now, Throgg will also be getting his Wintertooth crown as a legendary item. Not sure of its abilities yet, but he will also get access to what CA is referring to as a magic missile in the form of copious vomit, which I'm hoping is actually a devastating breath attack, because trolls often vomit as an attack in the tabletop game to do significant damage, because troll bile is capable of basically dissolving any material, whether it be Grumreal armor or Chaos plate. And it would just be cool to see this as a breath attack that could hit multiple units. One more little tidbit about campaign is that if Throgg captures the settlement of Erengrad in Troll Country, where he supposedly is from, he may build a unique building there called the Cave of the Rocky Throne, which grants buffs to Trolls units faction-wide. Now, it is not specific on what those buffs are, but hopefully it makes them a little more viable than they already are, although he will be buffing them himself, so maybe it'll just give them that leadership buff in other armies, maybe? That would be nice if that was the case. But with that being said, that's all I've got on Throgg. Unfortunately, there isn't a whole bunch on him unless you go into the end times. He had kind of an important role. But like I said earlier, I'm not covering the end times. So we'll stick with what we've got so far. And with that, I have been Jumbo Thick. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you've made it this far, I thank you very much. I appreciate any viewership I'm getting currently. I have a kind of a smaller channel, so if you're interested in new content, make sure to like and subscribe. It'll help people find this video and will just inform you whenever I put up new content. Make sure to comment down below if I missed anything. I might have missed something. I don't think so, because there wasn't much to miss. But comment even if you like something. I don't know. Just comment away. So with that being said, thank you guys, and I hope I see you guys in the next one.